My name is Mike Sullivan. I'm a former IRS agent and teaching instructor. I worked about 10,000 cases. I worked at IRS over a decade. I've been doing this for, I don't know, 50 years. Me and my M&M man give you a thumbs up for listening today. As a former IRS agent, I watch a bunch of YouTubes, and there's some good people out there. There's a lot of blowhards out there too. So what I try to do is I try to pull the curtain back in 5 minutes, give you enough information you need to to know to make a competent decision on what you need to do. I'm available for free consultations to do the work, but on my YouTube, I just want to be kind of informative to you and give you relative information that you need to know how to work your own case if you want to. So today I want to talk to you about is how do you know you're eligible for a federal tax relief program and not spend your money with someone wasting your time. God, the internet is saturated with people who are telling you can settle your debt for pennies on a dollar. You can. Last year 18,000 people did. About 70,000, 80,000 people applied for it. There's a reason that $70,000, 60,000 people did not get accepted. They used a bad company. They don't know what they're doing. I used to teach the offer and compromise program at IRS, and it's called people call it the Federal Tax Debt Relief Program. There is no really such thing. I use this title for you because everyone's thinking it's a federal debt relief program, and it's really not. It's called the Offer and Compromise. As a former agent, if you were a good agent, they would bring you to a service center in the United States and you would teach a program. Well, I taught the offer program, so I can tell you exactly what you need to know whether your offer is going to get accepted or not by at least understanding the formula that IRS is going to give you. So it's a simple formula. I'm going to go over it with you. I hate for people to give their money to people and they never had a chance. I bet you God, get so many calls a week, a month by people who have been ripped off by people. And how that happens when you call these big companies and these 1-800 numbers, you're speaking to salespeople. They come on like they know what they're doing. They know crap about what they're doing. I've had the opportunity to call a company and listen to their spiel, and it is just pure garbage. They'll do anything they can and promise you anything they get in their back pocket of yours, and it's just really not true. So let me just go over just a couple different points of the offer and compromise program so you understand what IRS is looking for this so-called federal debt tax relief program called the offer and compromise. There's the one that I'm talking about is the doubt to collectability, which is telling IRS, in fact, that you have no idea you can't pay the tax in full. IRS is looking at two things. They're going to be looking at two forms, a 656 form and a 433 AOIC, which is basically telling IRS what your financial statement looks like. So if I'm looking at that form for the IRS, I'm looking at two things, your assets, and I'm looking at your income versus expenses. Here's what you have to understand. IRS is not going to accept any less than your assets, your liquidity asset base for an offer. If you were to go ahead and add up all your total liquidity and it comes to 100,000, you had a pension, a car, a bank account, a home, whatever, IRS isn't going to settle for any less than 100. You're wasting your time putting in the offer because IRS can file a lien, seize it, and they're not going to do that. Now, your home is discounted 20%. You should know that if it's homestead. So if you have more liquidity than tax, you're wasting your time. You're either going to wind up probably with a payment agreement. There'll be companies that tell you they can settle the debt because they have unique formulas and they have this thing with IRS. That's bullshit. They can't do that. You must give them at least what you have. The other formula that's very important, you understand, very important, is they're going to look at your income versus your expenses. So IRS has a standard, and it's called the National Standard Expense. The National Standard Expense applies for expenses in the categories of food and clothing, housing and utilities, car payments, and the gas, oil operations for cars. You can go to irs.gov and pull up those national standards for those four things: housing and utilities, car payment, food and clothing, car operation costs. The Department of Labor has fixed these figures in, so when you look at your financial statement, you must stay within their boundaries. What IRS is trying to do is saying, if you live in a certain county and state, this is all we're going to allow you to spend in that area. So basically, if you're making $7,000 a month and IRS deems that you can only spend $5,000 a month because you're falling out of their standard, you have $2,000 a month left over. How are they going to fix that in the offer formula? They are going to go ahead and take that $2,000 and they're going to multiply it by the life of the statute. So if you have 5 years at 60 months, they're going to take that 2,000 times 60. Your base offer on that is going to be 120,000. So what they do is they add the value of your total liquidity and the value of what you have left over at the end of the month times the life of the statute, and that's how they settle the case. So don't go running off giving a person a money to go ahead and work the offer unless you understand the formula or you talk to a real tax pro. You can talk to me, your own accountant. We do a lot of representation work. I will not submit an offer and compromise unless I can prove to you that I can get your debt settled through the offer program. These people are going to rip you off. Look at their rip-off reports, their complaints. Do not, if you don't know the formula, don't let them get away with it. So remember, at the end of the day, your total liquidity goes over here. Whatever you have left over at the end of the month goes here. Times what you have left on the statute, they're going to add those two together. It's that simple. Don't get ripped off. Make sure you qualify. By the way, if you find this was helpful to you, I really need subscriptions. It's only because YouTube wants me to have subscriptions and it places me, gives me a higher value. If you just click the subscription button, that'd be great. Give me a like if you want. Leave me a comment. I answer all my questions at the end of every week. Happy hunting. I hope you get your offer through. By the way, I think last year, like I said, IRS accepted 18. 70,000 didn't go through. The average settlement was about 16,000. But what do I know? Thank you.